Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a little bit of a different video where I'm going to share with you how I made an orange shirt for Orange Shirt Day, which is September 30th. So if any of your children, grandchildren, cousins, sons, nieces, nephews would like a shirt, I'm going to show you how to make one at home so they too can participate. But before I do that, I wanted to give you a little bit about the story behind Orange Shirt Day. So I'm just going to read straight from their website. So Phyllis went to the mission school for 1 year. She was 6 years old. Her family never had very much money, and there was no social assistance, but somehow her granny managed to buy her a new outfit to go to the mission school. She remembers going to Robinson's store and picking out a shiny orange shirt. It had eyelets and lace, and she felt so pretty in that shirt and excited to be going to school. When she got to school, they stripped her and took away her clothes, including that orange shirt. She never saw it again, except on other kids. She didn't understand why they wouldn't give it back to her. It was hers. Since then, the color orange has always reminded her of that, she says. She says her feelings didn't matter and no one cared how she felt, like she was worth nothing. Now she finally gets that the feeling of worthlessness and insignificance ingrained in her from her very first day at school affected the way she lived her life for many years. Even now, knowing nothing could be further from the truth, sometimes she feels that she doesn't matter. She is honored to tell her story so others may benefit and understand, and maybe other survivors will feel comfortable enough to share their stories. She says, "I want my orange shirt back, Phyllis. Orange shirt is a symbol of so many losses experienced by those who were sent to residential schools over several generations. Losses of family, culture, language, freedom, parenting, self-esteem, and worth were experienced by everyone. Let's not forget the children, but honor them on September 30th. Orange Shirt Day is an affirmation of our commitment to ensure that everyone around us matters. That every child matters." So this year on September 30th, I encourage everyone to wear orange as a symbolic gesture to acknowledge the legacy of residential schools and give hope for generations of children to come. So that's why I'm here, to share with you how to make a shirt, be it for a child or an adult, so we all too can participate. Please stay tuned, and thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for watching. So here I have my workstation all set up to start working. What I'm using is my Cricut. This is the Cricut Explorer 2. I have my laptop over there and my mouse. Over to the left, I also have a orange shirt, which I picked up at Michael's. They're fairly reasonably priced there as well. And I have my Cricut mat, which I'll be using to attach the vinyl to. And I'll show you step by step on how to make this. It's fairly easy, fairly simple, quick, easy, and you can do it in a couple of minutes. So if you want to see how it turns out, please keep on watching. So this is the design that I will be ironing onto the t-shirt. It's in Design Space right now. A lot of these designs you can just get from Google. Just make sure it's not copywritten, or you can create your own. So it's fairly easy to do, but I'm going to be using this particular one. Here is just a look at the t-shirt I'll be using. It's just a standard, again, Michael's t-shirt. I believe it's the Gildan brand, and I am using here a size small for my niece. But again, you can find these t-shirts probably anywhere, but I just find Michael's has the best selection. Now here I'm just setting up my Cricut machine. As you can see, it's all plugged in, ready to go. I just have to click on that little button to open it up, and it's ready for the mat and the vinyl to be placed in. Those white two little drums over there are what contain the actual blade that will cut through the vinyl. Here I'm just showing you what the mat, the Cricut mat, looks like. I showed to you a little bit earlier on, but that's where you actually stick the vinyl onto and where you insert it into the Cricut machine, and it does all the cutting for you. Now this looks like a scary piece of equipment. Not to worry, if you don't have one of these, it's not a must. You can certainly use your regular iron. I do have this, which is a heat press, so it is heavy duty because I do tend to make a lot of t-shirts, so I did invest in one, and personally it's one of the best investments I ever did. But again, you do not need one in order to make this t-shirt. So now we've gone ahead and cut some vinyl. I'm starting with the white vinyl, and I'm placing it in the Cricut machine and let it do its job. Now while that's cutting, just one thing I want to bring to your attention, which is super duper important. Always mirror your image when you're working with HTV, which is heat transfer vinyl, and always put the shiny side down on the mat, or I like to say the ugly side faces me. This way you will never waste vinyl again like I did the first couple of times. So as you can see, it's a little bit noisy, but it's doing its job. So the white piece is now done, so I'm just going to eject it and remove it from the actual machine. It doesn't look like much now, but you will see it'll all come together. And now it's time for the black piece, and we're just going to go ahead and fast forward through this because how interesting is this? And now for the very last piece, it's the little red vinyl. That's the little ribbon we're going to attach to the top of the feather, and then we're done, and then the fun begins, piecing it all together. Oh well, before that we still have to weed it all out, which some people don't find that so much fun, and that's where it takes very time consuming. Okay, and here we are. So we are ready to weed. We're going to begin with the white vinyl. So again, weeding can be pretty boring, pretty tedious. So I'm just going to fast forward and you get an idea of what it is all about. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to the black piece of vinyl and weed that one. Now we're almost at the fun part. So before we begin, I like to prep my t-shirt by placing it on the heat press just to remove out any wrinkles, any moisture, and lay it flat. You can also do this again with your iron. and I leave it on for 15 seconds, just again, so it's nice and flat, no wrinkles, because we don't want any wrinkles. And you can see there, it's absolutely flat. Now the other step is I'm going to actually fold the t-shirt in half, just so I find the center of the t-shirt, because what we don't want is the actual logo off center. So I'm going to go ahead and center it, and that will make our lives so much easier. Now, as you can see, there's a nice visible line down the center, so I know exactly where to place my logo. And right now I'm just measuring 1.5 inches down from the scoop neck, because that's the perfect measurement to get it centered on the shirt. It's not too high, it's not too low, it's just perfect. Well, you heard me say earlier on that the fun part will be coming, and it's here. It's like putting pieces of a puzzle together. So this is actually a layered logo. So we're starting off with the black and the white. Before I actually iron on, I'm just trying to get an overview of how it will look, make sure everything's centered, and once it is, I'll begin the ironing, which is the final step to this process. But again, we're just making sure everything looks okay, because it's all about prep. You don't want to do things twice. So I think I have everything placed the way I want it, so we're ready to go ahead and iron it. So just be careful, because you don't want to scorch the vinyl or burn the fabric, and be careful which vinyl you're using, because some are cold peel, some are hot peel, so just be careful on which one you're using. Read the instructions. Well, as you can see, it's now ironed on, both the white and black. I'm going to iron on the child portion now, and we're just making sure everything's nice and centered, all lined up, everything's straight. I always use a ruler just to ensure it. I look over the top down to make sure it's straight. It may not look straight here because of the angle of the camera, but I can assure you that it is straight. One thing I did forget to mention is that I always use a piece of parchment paper. That's to ensure that I don't scorch or burn the fabric. Well, this is where I ended off, and here, voila, is my final product. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you took a little bit of maybe an idea from this and create your own. I mean, the ideas are endless, so you know, everyone on September 30th, let's participate, and I would love to see what you've come up with. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next video.